and welcome. And I'm just going to share my screen. Can everybody see that okay? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. So without further ado, let's get started. We have so many people that signed up today. Thank you for those of you who are attending live. It's really fun to do this live and in person with you. And we are going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics today, and we're actually going to get into some of the practical examples as well. So I'm going to actually do demonstrations later on. So the topic of today is adapting fitness routines as you age. And we are Vintage Fitness. So if you're new to Vintage Fitness, just a little bit about us. We have been in operation for 20 years, since 2005. We have in-person personal trainers that are all seniors fitness experts working solely with seniors across the Greater Toronto area and beyond. So in the Greater Toronto area, in person, in home, and we also have virtual sessions one-on-one with our clients. We offer fall prevention programs, group exercise for older adults, and we are definitely specialists in the 50 plus population. Does everybody here fit into that category? Okay, you're in the right place. Excellent. So we always say that our clients achieve their health goals with us, but it's sort of a long-term commitment. It's not a quick fix type of scenario. Each of our clients obviously has different things going on with them, and for that reason, we encourage a lifestyle commitment to exercise, physical activity. This is a little bit about me. I'm the owner of Vintage Fitness. My name is Leigh. I'm so happy to be here with you today. My background's in kinesiology. I have 20 years of experience working full-time with seniors. It's always been my passion and my joy. Now we have 20 trainers, 20 plus trainers with Vintage Fitness that are all seniors fitness experts as well. So this webinar is for you if you know you should be exercising, you know it's good for you, you know it helps to mitigate some of the factors of aging, but sometimes you're not sure if you're doing enough or you're doing too much, or when you should rest, or you've got a sore shoulder, or there's something going on with you and you know you're not sure how to work around it. So you struggle with age-related limitations, you want to start a fitness routine, but you aren't sure it's safe, or fear or discomfort is preventing you from exercising or from progressing your exercise regime. So today's topics, we're going to cover some things that can happen as you age. You might be familiar with these things. The great news is, if you're here and you have a body, it's not inevitable. There are things you can do, and that's what we're going to talk about today to mitigate some of those changes. We're going to talk about how to manage exercise when you have aches, pains, and even injuries. We're going to talk about the benefits of exercise at any age, adapting exercise to suit your age and ability, and we're going to give some practical examples of some very popular exercises, and strategic exercises for pain relief for some common pains. So just the basics here to start. Some of the reasons why you should exercise throughout your lifespan. Any takers? What's a good reason? And don't look at the list. Too tempting, right?
Maintain mobility.
Yeah.
Say it again.
To maintain mobility.
To maintain mobility. Excellent. Or even to gain mobility. Good answer. Any other takers?
Just to feel better.
To feel better, right? Mentally and physically. What else?
Brain health.
Take the pressure off my joints.
Take the pressure off your joints. Yes. Brain health. Yes. Oh, you know all the answers already. You guys should lead it.
To maintain our independence.
To maintain your independence, absolutely. Often a goal for our clients is to be able to live independently in their homes, and to continue to do all the things they want to do in their day-to-day life without assistance.
There's a social aspect to it also. If you join a club or, you walk with someone, I know it's not personal and physical, but it does help with socializing,
Absolutely.
which
It
is
contributes
spiritual.
to wellness through connectivity, right? There are actually all kinds of studies that show that the social component and the connectivity actually adds to wellness as well, and quality of life. Good one. Has anybody seen that documentary on Netflix called Live to 100?
No.
Yeah, it's called Live to 100, and it documents the blue zones around the world, and it talks about the things that people in those areas have in common. There's one in Japan, there's one in Costa Rica, there's one in Sardinia, Italy. And so they studied what they do throughout their lives, what they eat, and how they roll outside of that. And some of the things they had in common, exercise, but more physical activity throughout their day. So for example, in Sardinia, there are a lot of great big hills, and they just had to climb them just to get around. And so that kept them physically fit and active. In Japan, they sit on the floor often. And so they're able to get up and down off the floor with ease because they're just doing it in their day to day. Some other things they had in common with regards to nutrition, of course, a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, a lot of beans and legumes. A Mediterranean type diet was what they discovered. And then one of you touched on it already with the connectivity and the socialization. And then another component was hobbies and continuing to do things that interest you and excite you as you go. So these are all components. And of course, today we're going to talk mostly about exercise and physical activity because that's our jam over here. But there are mental health benefits, of course, as well, and brain health as well, as we mentioned. Good. We've still got a few people trickling in. Welcome. Okay, well, I can tell you know all the answers, so that's good. Some common age-related physical changes. I think it used to be thought that no matter what, you could only slow your decline, or sorry, you couldn't slow your decline, you could only maintain, or slow your decline. Yeah, you couldn't actually reverse your age-related physical changes. We know now through lots of studies that you can. So for example, muscle loss, sarcopenia, is one of the things that can happen with age. But what happens is if you actually strength train, you can use that as a mitigating factor. So regular resistance training, we're going to show some examples of this in a bit. And strength training can be using your body weight. It can be using an exercise band or weights. And for muscle loss as well, it's important to include protein and a balanced diet. Another thing that can change with age, and I know it's a concern for a lot of you, is bone health, bone density. So they become less dense and more prone to fractures, especially in the hips, wrists, and spine. So how do you think we mitigate this one? Well, it's exercise again, of course, but engaging in weight-bearing exercises in particular. So dancing, jogging, walking. And I know a lot of you do bone density screenings, and some of you take medication. And calcium and vitamin D are also good. What else? We talked a little bit about joint stiffness already, and how exercise can help. Joint cartilage can wear down and it can lead to stiffness and pain. And a lot of times a reduction in mobility in the joint can also contribute to common injuries. So it's important to get your joints through their full range of motion, and you can maintain a healthy weight and engage in low impact exercises like swimming or cycling. Another thing that can happen, and I know a lot of you think about this one, is changes in posture This can happen due to muscle loss or changes in mobility. So of course, if you're tight through here, right? Sometimes it can do the stoop shoulders forward and then your posture changes altogether. And then what happens is you're not able to use your body functionally well, using your core and your glutes to support you. So the whole thing breaks down and then different pains start happening in different areas. But it can be mitigated. Sorry, let's go back. Using core strength exercises, things like planks and bridges, and we have all kinds of modifications for these exercises. Focus on good posture habits. So that would be like flexibility training and taking your joints through the full range of motion. And then just really practicing sitting and standing and walking upright and in alignment with your head over your shoulders over your hips, and your hips over your feet. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm just going to check the chat here. I see some action. Okay, someone says, sorry, I'm driving, but I'm listening. Hi. And yes, Gail, I will send the slide info out after the talk. Yeah, there'll be lots of stuff that you probably want to look at again later, especially when it comes to the specific exercises, because that's, I'm sure, part of what you want to learn today too. All right, let's keep going. Changes in balance. Is anybody here worried about balance, coordination, or is it a concern for you? Yes. So this can happen due to a variety of reasons, but often we lose sensory feedback in our feet. So it's very important to be connected to what's happening in your feet and your ankle mobility. It can also be due to a loss of strength. So again, the strength training comes to the rescue one more time. So we can improve mobility and strength in the lower body, starting with the ankles, and then getting into the lower and upper legs as well. And also important for balance is core strength. And then another thing to note is that when you're training balance, you don't just want to think about one type of training, like standing on one leg, but rather trying to move your body through a variety of planes and getting used to righting yourself when you move, like let's say shift your weight to the left and then back to the right again, to the front and back to the back, reaching in a variety of directions. So we call that dynamic balance practice. Changes in agility and coordination. And depending on what level you're at, you can have very different goals in terms of how much agility and coordination you want to improve upon right now and for what reasons. So you might just want to be able to scale the stairs a little bit easier, or step up on a curb with ease or without assistance. Or you might be the next pickleball champion of the world and want to get more agility and coordination and balance. For that, wherever you're starting, when we're doing our intake with our clients, we always do an assessment to find out where you're at right now, and then find out what your goal is, and then choose our exercises and our programming accordingly. So for agility and coordination, we focus on exercises that involve the lower and upper body, and choose activities that regularly move you through all planes of motion. So side to side, up and down, and on the angle. And that includes reaching and stepping in various directions. Okay, this is a question we actually get quite a lot as well. And it's huge with seniors, because generally we all have something going on at any given time that could make us wonder, is this something I should exercise through or stop on? So like we might have more than one thing going on with our body: a sore shoulder, we're tired, we're depleted, we have the knee surgery. There might be a few other things that make you wonder whether it's a good idea to go forward. That's why we're so happy that we can do these sessions one-on-one with our clients, because we can address all these things at once and still work through them with you and not stop and hinder your progress in your direction towards your goals. So I'm just going to go over some of the different things that can tell you, okay, this is a really important time to rest or discontinue exercise for now. And these are times when you can probably keep going through. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. And sometimes you might have like a doctor's restriction or something like that. But these are some of the basics. So when should you rest? Any takers on this? Like, is there something that could be going on with you that's telling you, I really shouldn't push through this? And it doesn't have to be a specific.
When you have sharp pain,
Good answer. When you have sharp pain, yes, that's on the list. And we'll go through a couple other ones. Whoops. So generally, when you have a new injury and you don't really know the cause of it, it's a good idea to take a quick sec and go see your doctor and find out what's going on. You rest when you're advised by a doctor not to exercise. If you start exercising and the pain is increasing, even with the mitigating strategies that we use, because we do work through some pain sometimes, because some people have pain most of the time. But yeah, if it gets worse, then we take a break. Severe injury, a potential fracture or concussion, you would rest. If you're given a certain exercise and you can't perform the form properly because of an impingement, that would be a good time to rest. And just as Ruth said, a sharp or a shooting pain. Any questions so far about that? That makes sense? Yeah, and then I think this could be pretty empowering. We're talking about all the things that can happen when you age and when you need to stop. And it's very important to be safe, of course. But what we really like to do is recognize, oh, hey, like I am feeling pretty crappy in this way today, but actually what can I do? And get to the place where you have the grit and the resilience and the knowledge and the know-how to continue even when you have a limitation or a setback. So when and how is it safe to continue exercising with a limitation or during a setback? And let's be honest, like I mentioned, we often do, right? Okay, so here goes. So you can continue when it's a chronic issue that you have that's already been addressed with a physician or specialist. You're cleared to exercise by a doctor or a specialist. And of course, especially if you have a professional that you work alongside with, they can tell you specifically what to do and what not to do. If you do have some pain, but it's dull when you're not exercising and it's still dull when you are, the pain doesn't increase with the movement, continue. Sometimes we'll have a mild injury, like maybe you like turned over on your ankle or you pulled something a little bit. But let's say you pulled something in your lower body. We encourage you to work in your upper body and the things that you can do. So stick to your workouts, stick to your plan, show up for yourself, commit to yourself, even when you have a setback like that. If you're able to modify exercise to a pain-free range of motion and maintain your form, then you can continue. And again, if you have some discomfort, but no sharp or shooting pain. So any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay, good. Makes sense. I have some chats here. Let's see. Okay. Someone says good info. Thank you. You can type nice words like that to me throughout if you like. All right. Oh yeah. So, another one someone just wrote. That's really great. Feeling faint. So if you're feeling dizzy or faint, you want to discontinue as well. We didn't actually put that in there. Good one. Okay, so here are some common problems that can come up when we're deciding like how much should we do? how do we go about this? Like, this is tough to get started or keep going towards your goals, right? So, let's see, sorry. Yes. Okay. So the problem is you have pain with movement. So we talked a little bit about how to distinguish the types of pain. So you can start by reducing the range of motion. And if the pain continues, stop and consult your physician. Okay. If you're unable to maintain proper form, try a different exercise variation, which is better suited for your body. And again, we're going to go through some specific ones in a bit. What happens if you have a lower body injury? What can you do? Anyone?
You could do chair exercises.
Yes, you could. And you could focus on your upper body. Yes, Karen said it. Upper body. Someone said stretch bands. Julie said upper body. Good job, you guys. Hand weights as well. All great options. And before we continue, I just see another question in here from Linda. Is it a good idea to exercise on day 1, rest on day 2, exercise day 3, etc.? Very good question. So this is also a question we get a lot with regards to rest. And you can hear about the strength training people, the bodybuilding people that say it's always good to take our rest in between strength training sessions. It might be if it's a little bit more intense. Sounds like we've got some feedback on someone's. Can you just check your mic and see if you can?
I'm just fixing it.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Sorry about
Thanks so
that.
much. That's okay. So, you don't need to take a break, a full rest on day 2 if you've exercised on day 1. All I would say is if you still have sore muscles from day 1 of a certain kind, you wouldn't necessarily work those same muscles again. Otherwise, you're okay to work out every day. Most people need to work out a little bit more, not a little bit less. So when in doubt, it's probably not a rest day, but that's a really good question. Speaking for myself as well. All right. So lower body injury, yes, you can do upper body work. Upper body injury, you can do lower body work. That minimizes strain on the upper body. If you have residual pain post-surgery, sometimes we try isometric exercises and then progress to more typical concentric exercises. So isometric exercises are when you hold a contraction, like a strength move, in one position for a length of time. For an example would be a plank or a wall sit. So you're not going up and down into a squat. You're just holding the squat against the wall, or you're holding a plank or a counter plank. And I'm going to show you some of these moves later. Maybe you'll do some with me. Just saying. Okay. And then residual pain post injury again. Yeah. Post surgery, I think one of those was supposed to be. So you can talk to a movement specialist in conjunction with your physician.
What are we gonna have for dinner? What are we having for dinner?
Okay, so let's move on. And you can always put any more questions in the chat if you have. So most of the content that we were going to go through with just the talking, I've done already. And now I'm going to move into some of the specific exercises. We're going to talk about some exercises that are pretty standard, that are great to adapt depending on what your level is. These are just a few of the options. They're really only limited by our own imaginations, and our crew is fairly imaginative. So these again are just some alternatives. I'm going to go through what I'm going to show you, and then I'll demonstrate a few. So these ones here are lower body strength exercises. And the standard one that you might see the bodybuilders doing in the gym is the squat with the barbell over the back there. An easier version is a body weight squat, but that might not be suitable for everyone if you have balance issues, or if you haven't quite gained the strength in your legs, or you had some kind of setback through the knees or the hips, or mobility challenges in general. So another alternative would be a sit to stand with the chair as a guide. It's really helpful to get the right form. And you can also push off of it a little bit, and you have a little bit of a rest in between each one if you need them. And if that's actually still a little bit too challenging, then you can always just start with a strengthener for one of the prime movers in the lower body. And that would be in this last version here, the seated knee extension. That's for the quadriceps, the front of the leg. So you can even try that right now if you're sitting in a chair. You can extend one leg out in front of you, and you can notice that you can feel the top of your leg between your knee and your hip engaging. And that's the quadricep group of muscles. Does anybody know what other muscles are working while you're doing body weight squats or sit to stands or knee extensions? Well, not knee extensions, really the other three. There's two other major muscle groups in your lower body are your glutes,
Yeah.
the muscles that you're sitting on right now.
And
And
what
your
about the
hamstring.
abdominal? Abdominal?
Oh, that's actually a good answer. Your abdominals are working there too to help you get up and sit back down again, like while you're in between the sitting and the standing. So good answer. And in terms of lower body muscles, you've got the glutes, the quads, and the hamstrings. So the hamstrings run up all the way up the back of your legs. Mm-hmm. So as an alternative to the knee extension, you could also do an exercise for the hamstrings or for the glutes. And one good one for the glutes we'll be showing later, which is the bridge. All right. Let's see, have I let everybody in? I think so. All right. And next we're going to go into some common upper body ones and some alternatives. So these ones here are actually for the back, upper back. And a standard exercise that you might see in the gym would be the row. They also have machines in the gym, of course, where you could do a seated row and squeeze your elbows back like that. So if you think about it, a lot of the alternatives are pretty much the same movement. If you look at the second one there, the banded row, that one is really the same movement. You're just pushing your elbows back behind your body and squeezing between the shoulder blades. And it's almost like those elbows are arrows pointing to what you're going to be working, and it's the muscles in your back. I'm going to show you the banded pull apart now. And the shoulder squeeze, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. So the banded pull apart. Let's see. You're going to bring the band in front of your body with your arms in front of your shoulders, and then open your arms wide, sort of stick your chest out, bring your arms all the way out to the sides, go slowly, and keep as much time under tension as you can. So it's not like this, right? It's slow and it's with control. You can try it even without a band right now, and you should feel it as well when you open your arms wide and squeeze between the shoulder blades. So that's a great one for strengthening the upper back. And if that's hard, you can do it without the band to start, or you can even start with the shoulder squeezes. Depends on how long it's been since you've tried something like this. And wherever you're starting, just know that you can get to the next level and the next level. You just have to stay committed over time. So it's not too late for you. All right, the lower back strength. Wait, did we miss one? No, it's coming. Okay, so lower back strength, the classic one that you'd see in the gym would be the deadlift. You can do that with a band as well. Or you can use a broom handle or something else for the hip hinge. And then which one's the easiest one of the bunch, would you say? Which one should you start with if you've never done the deadlift before?
Hip hinge.
Yeah, the seated hip hinge, I would say, because it has the least load on your body. So the seated hip hinge is the easiest one. Yeah, okay, good. Awesome.
Just a question, Leigh, on the hip hinge using the broomstick.
Mhm.
It looks like, I guess, you place the broomstick in behind and then it basically just helps to keep you in form. Is that right? When you sort of bend forward?
That's right. And this exercise, it's good for posture. It's not suitable for everyone. It depends on your shoulder mobility. It depends on your back and things like that. But it is kind of a nice one to keep you in check. So you put the broomstick right along your spine, the middle of your spine, and then you lean forward from there. This is actually one of the ones that's good for pain through the knees as well, because it gets you balanced like right to left, forward and back. So, and it helps with shoulder mobility as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys are the most patient, awesome bunch. Thank you. All right. So the next one we're going to highlight right now is everyone's favorite, right? The push-ups. So rather than getting down on the floor and doing push-ups straight from there, if you haven't done them in a while, or if they've never really been your forte, there are lots of ways to work yourself up to that. And I'm going to show you one of the alternatives right now, which is the seated band press. And that would be sort of the number one you'd choose. And you're going to put the band either behind your back or behind your chair. And you're going to hold it tight close to your chest and then push your arms forward. So side view. Push your arms forward. And again, you want to go slowly and with control. And are we holding our breath or are we breathing?
Breathing.
Yes, we are. It's very easy when you're really concentrating to forget to breathe, but it's important to remember. So in this one, the seated band press would be option number one. Which one would be the next easiest one, do you think?
I think the wall push-up,
Yes.
but I do counter, so
Yes. So the wall push-up would be easier. The closer to the wall that you have your feet, the easier it is. So the guy in the picture there put his feet pretty far away from the wall, but you could start with them closer and then gradually move them further and further away. Another one we like is you can use the stairs. So you could start on stair number 5 or 6. And then once you get really good at doing 10 of those, you could move down to the next step down, etc., until you make your way down to the floor and challenge me to a push-up competition. Yeah. So Kathy says wrist arthritis pain make these difficult. Was that for the band press or for the wall push-up itself?
Well, all of them.
Yeah, for the push-ups, I think you're right. Sometimes that can be challenging. When you have the counter, sometimes you can hook your hands around the end or find a way to position them that it works. There's a bit more wiggle room there with how you position your hands. Same with the band. You can really choose how you want to hold it, or you can wrap them around your hands a bit. these are some of the ways that our clients work around the wrist issues. Good point. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. And we're going to talk about core strength exercises. I'm going to demonstrate again the one in the chair. That's one of the easier ones of the bunch. The wall plank is pretty easy as well. You could also do that one on a counter to take it a little bit further. And then finally, the full plank on the left-hand side on the floor, or you could even bring your knees down to the floor. So again, there's lots of options, and you would probably know just by looking at each of these, hey, I could do the hardest one in this grouping, but I actually have to do the easiest one in this grouping. And there's never any judgment. We're all so different in our bodies that it's important to remember that we just have to do what works for us. And we can get stronger in each capacity just by focusing more on our weaknesses and not what we're already good at. So with the chair V-sit, this is kind of a Pilates move, actually. It's based on one called the C shape or V-sit in Pilates. But you don't want to actually really lean back. You want to kind of tuck your tummy in a little bit and then lean back. It might also be important if you don't have too sturdy a chair to hold on to the back of it. And then you can hold there for a few seconds. It's that isometric exercise until you feel like you really need to kind of take a break and come back up. And then try it. Make sense? I think I saw a couple of you guys trying it. That's awesome. Might as well get stronger while you're listening to the webinar. And we just have a couple other things to go over right now. These are just some exercises that we recommend. And again, they're not suitable for everyone. Back pain and knee pain are sort of specific to each individual. But what we do want to say is that often we need to focus on mobility in those areas and also strength in the muscles around those areas. So for example, with low back pain, we want to focus on core strength. We want to focus on glute strength. You remember where the glutes are? Yeah, your butt muscles. Hip strength, and then hip strength and spine mobility as well. And so the example on the bottom left is the cat-cow pose in yoga. There is a seated version of that where you just round forward and then open up back. But you're pushing out through the middle of your spine. So it's like you're really slouching here. Yeah. And then you're just opening your chest and arching your back. And you're slouching and you're opening. Yes. So that's the seated version of the cat-cow if getting down on your hands and knees is not doable at the moment. But it's really great for helping to alleviate some forms of back pain. You also want to strengthen your glutes. So the bottom middle is the bridge. That's really great for targeting the whole posterior chain or the back chain of your body. That works your hamstrings and your glutes. But the other thing that's great about it is your head and neck are supported on the floor. So I love how gentle and accessible it is for most people, as long as you can get down onto the floor, or even if not, you could do that in your bed. And then the one just above that is the hip openers, the clamshells. And this is actually a strengthener for the glutes and the hips, even when you don't have a band, but the band makes it a bit more challenging as well. So these are some nice options for low back pain. And then we've got some knee pain examples. So again, we want to focus on mobility and strength around the area. So for knees, we want to focus on the strength of the quads above the knee, the glutes that you're sitting on, and your hamstrings and your calves. So these are some examples here. And then you also want to be able to take your knee joint through the full range of motion. So for example, the last exercise where he's standing on one leg any stretching out the quad muscles. Often these can be very tight. So when there's limited mobility, pain can be even worse. And again, these are all example exercises, not one size fits all, but just to get an idea of the types of things that we like to recommend. And finally, for upper back pain and postural issues, a lot of time upper back pain can happen from poor posture, and it's not inevitable, and it is reversible as well. So these are some of the ways that we help people improve their posture. We've got the hip hinge again. We've got some that look really easy, and they are, but they only work if you actually do them. Yeah, so it's like, oh, that looks really easy, so why should I bother? Oh, it's great, like the chin tucks there, the shoulder squeezes, and even like every time you walk through a doorway, just to put your hands on the outsides of the door frame and lean in a little bit. You already saw the banded pull apart for the strengthening of the upper back, and that is the strengthening of the upper back is actually a great way to open you up through your chest and improve your posture. But you just have to remember where your head is. So that's why those chin tucks are good, because you don't want to, let's say, do the banded pull aparts, but have your head down here, right? So things to consider. Any questions? All right, we're getting there, you guys. We're almost there. Some examples for shoulder pain and stiffness. Usually it's a mobility and a strength issue as well. Usually we want to open up more through the chest because we can be impinged or limited through the front of the shoulders. That's not always. If there's tightness when you're rotating, we try to strengthen those areas. So these are, I guess, physio type exercises, but we use a lot of them when we're strength training and rehabilitating both at the same time. And that is what I had to demonstrate at this point. If anybody has any questions right now, I would love to hear them. I'm so glad that you were here for this adventure.
I used to like doing squats, but now I have a bladder prolapse, so squeezing causes problems. Is there an adaptation for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you could try a wall sit, but don't go down as far. You could try isolating the different muscles within that group. So for example, the bridges, because they're great because you can engage your pelvic floor while you do a bridge. And so it can actually help with that as well. And you can do the leg extensions to build the quads.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I would welcome all the questions after as well. Like you can just email me, leigh@vintagefitness.ca. If you don't feel like asking your personal questions in here, but you're more than welcome to as well. And thank you, Karen. She says this has been really helpful.
Leigh,
Yes.
do you feel there's an optimal amount of time to exercise, or is it totally individual?
That's a really good question. I mean, there are basic guidelines, but it depends on like how long you've been exercising up into this point. Generally, I think even to maintain or to like progress further towards your goals, we recommend at least twice a week strength training, and usually for a minimum of 30 minutes, probably 45 minutes would be good if you're including your warm up and cool down. It doesn't have to be super intense. It just has to be challenging for you. So that could be very different from one person to the next. And just a good thing to keep in mind is that, say you do a set of exercises, you want, once you've done 10 or 12 of them, like to feel like you need a break. That's how you know it was like a challenging exercise for you. If it felt like you could do 100 of them, maybe there's a slightly like harder progression that you could move to. And then that probably means that you're progressively overloading, which means you're challenging your body to the next level. And you will make strength gains faster using that approach. And then in terms of like, that's 2 times a week strength training, but of course on the other days you can do other things as well, like walking, dancing, pickleballing, whatever you like, swimming.
Okay, thanks.
It's great to move every day if you can. But like I said, if you're feeling pain in certain areas, maybe don't work those same muscles again the next day.
I found that to really motivate myself to move in general, apart from training, I have gotten a step counter, and I find that really motivates me to do more steps.
Oh, that's really smart. It keeps you honest too, eh? It's really
Mhm.
surprising sometimes. And I think that's a great idea. A lot of people use the step counter now. I have some really nice comments here. Wanda says, oh, TT says, have a great day. Kathy says this was really good. Wanda says, great webinar. Thanks for sticking through the tech stuff. Thank you very much. Helpful info and suggestions. Oh yeah, and TT says, is it possible to send me this content? Yes, I will send everybody a replay. I will also edit it so that it will all be tickety-boo. And thank you, Julie, as well. I appreciate everyone coming out. Yvette says this was the best webinar yet. Well,
Oh,
so I hope once I send you these exercises that you will try something on your own and see which ones are appropriate for you. And just remember, some of them you might be able to do the hardest one on. Some of them may be the easiest. And that's no problem at all. So just see what works for you, listen to your body, and please feel free to email me anytime.
Can you address increasing grip strength so you can open things, bottle jars?
oh,
Yeah, it's so
that's a
good.
good
Well,
one.
a lot of times people are doing the farmer's carry now. So starting with, a weight that is okay for you, like maybe you start with 5 pounds, move to 8, and you're holding them while you're walking with good posture, of course. Posture. And that's a great way to increase grip strength, especially if you progress the amount of weight you're using based on how you feel.
Leigh,
Good squeeze balls and things like that too, and that's good. I just got my son to open a jar for me the other day too, so I think I need to do my work as well. Yes.
I have a question. Oh, actually, I had knee replacement surgery about 14 months ago, and I'm having problems going up and down stairs, simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering if there's some way that I can continue. I mean, I keep forcing myself to do it, but it's just, still tender. And I'm wondering, is there any particular exercise that you suggest that I could continue working on? I'm exercising, but I mean, I may not be doing the right ones.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So knee replacement, right?
Yes.
Yes. The leg extensions where you kick one leg out.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And you're strengthening your quads there. That's a really good one. And then you would progress to using the band.
The band.
More challenging, or ankle weights to make it more challenging.
All right. I don't have a bike, so I mean, I don't know whether that would help.
Yeah, a bike could be good too, but you could also use the stair, like step up on one stair to start. Or
I've done that.
You don't have to put all your weight on the top stair, and just each move down to like its basics first, and then just keep seeing, like,
okay,
no forcing, but curiosity, like, hey, do you think I can do this now? Let's try. And really that's what we do, right? And then next thing you know, you can, because you put in the reps. So yeah, just keep moving. That's awesome that you're doing that.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm just, and I'm just about ready to start my gardening too. So, and I find it, it's a little tricky when I'm trying to process and choir. We do have to maneuver on poor stairs. So it's, when you're in procession, it's a little tricky.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I have one more point that Karen said. She said she found that starting the task of removing jar lids in your upper back helps. So that's actually a good point. Like sometimes we can recruit extra muscles. So for the case of the jar, Karen recruits her upper back muscles. You can also recruit, which just means squeeze or access your core muscles. And it's interesting, but like it frees up some of your other movements. So yeah, the upper back is a nice way to think of it. You could bring your elbow out and crank it open. Just get my son to do it. But yeah, awesome. Well, I'm so glad you guys are all here today. The next webinar we're going to do is in May, and it's going to be on the topic of getting you ready for your spring sports. So golf,
Good one.
and pickleball, and whatever else it tickles your fancy. If any of you want to get in touch with us, these are all the places that you can find us. And our phone number is on our website. Our website is vintagefitness.ca. So if you want someone to come to your home and keep you accountable to your goals and help you personally, we can do that. Or like I mentioned, we can do it virtually as well. And we'd love to hear from you with anything you have in mind. Okay, so thanks for coming today, and we'll see you next time.
I think
And you're going to send out the recording to
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
correct?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it. It sounded like a good one. I always try to get them.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.